Lovers Collide by Bennett Kuhns. Kleenex sales were up as spring sprung in Austin, typically the oak that rattles the nostrils. I rented a hybrid art studio, tucked behind a historic craftsman, a converted garage, a unique space, smelled faintly of turpentine and tortillas, thanks to my neighbor's ever-active stovetop. It was modest in size, enough space for a few easels, my drafting table, and a paint-splattered couch I loved. The bathroom freshly remodeled with a welcoming shower with that good pressure. So good you feel a bit guilty. The southern wall lined with shelves for days, or in this case, a wild surplus of paint jars, hundreds of colors, an economic trick. The 10-ounce bear samples are an underrated gold mine, relatively inexpensive, but surprisingly solid acrylic. The studio had charm too, converted garage bones with a functional facelift. Large bay windows wrapped in faded brick, original white oak floorboards, and a vintage fan that doubled as white noise and ventilation. But the real perk was the narrow, shared concrete walkway that led to the modern add-on next door. I didn't think much of the occupant at first, just the occasional nod or neighborly wave. I'd only caught her in fragments, fleeting, sidelong glimpses, a flash of dark hair, a hoodie drawn tight against the morning chill. She moved like a whispered thought. There, then gone. I hadn't yet inhaled her fully. That moment arrived, sudden, sharp, and full of theater, as she chased her golden retriever across the walkway and into my open studio like he was crashing an old abode. The pup barged in without hesitation and plopped down on my dropcloth, looking deeply satisfied. He was as beautiful and unbothered as she. It wasn't my breath that left me. It was language itself. My thoughts scattered, my tongue jammed. I stood blinking, stunned, like I'd just been struck by a nun's ruler, one I instantly, inappropriately, wanted to uncloak. When words finally returned, I mumbled, "Thank you, Lord." She smiled. Language returned. Sun-kissed cheeks, movie star freckles, and those fucking bangs, cut just right bangs, dead. She blew them out of her eyes. Oh, come on. Green eyes. Then, with undressed lips and perfect ease, she offered, "Hi, I'm Ella," as she reached out her hand. I grinned. Was that out loud? Vaccination of the heart. Side effects immediate. Our interactions, however, built slowly. Certainly not by design. I was ready to paint where I shat and eat where I fucked. But patience, virtue or not, was new to me, and somehow it stuck. The rhythm grew organically. Shared laughs, accidental wine tastings, when Cesar Chavez, the puppy, knocked over my bottle so we salvaged the balance and uncorked a new one, and eventually turned to movie night, binging a Cillian classic on my paint-stained couch. The energy turned from potential to kinetic, and I started to create. I'd had painter's block since a forgettable series of pieces inspired by my ex, Sophia. A stormy skyline, rage-painted just to cover a blank frame, bleak heart. Ink therapy? I had a new muse. Ella's laugh, mid-sip of an añejo, was an easy diving board. It became clear. This wasn't about to be a proximity casualty. Cue Eli, Ella's older brother. We'd scheduled dinner to meet him and his new girlfriend. I showed up ironically dressed in black, lightly fragranced in Joe Malone, rehearsing the look of sexy indifference. I knew the first impression mattered. Senses sharp, I heard the crunch of tires on gravel. He approached. Absurdly handsome. Made sense. Generous gene pool. Funny how I clocked him first, admiring the resemblance before the horror kicked in. Draped on his arm, like a sick cosmic prank. Oh, fuck, my ex. Ella noticed the shift. My shoulders tensed. I stopped breathing, just long enough to raise suspicion. It didn't take long. She recognized her instantly, from the album cover of her annoyingly successful debut, a record that managed to inflate my ego and crush my confidence, all in 12 poetic tracks and one haunting bridge. Knockless kismet. Dinner was a masterclass in controlled discomfort. I swirled my wine. There was a flicker in Sophia's eyes, brown bleeding into green, as she took in some of my recent work. Eli, blissfully ignorant. He'd likely laugh at the idea of building an igloo. Ella, victory formation, calm. As we ushered them to the door, Ella turned to Sophia with a soft smile, 1 part grace, 1 part claim, and stated, "He paints me now." The door hadn't even clicked shut before she grabbed the skyline canvas, Sophia's skyline, and pushed me back onto it. We fucked the storm away, and just like that, I was healed.